So it's been about 4 months since I started using the POCO X7 Pro as my daily driver. And with it now going for a pretty solid discount on Flipkart's big savings day sale, the big question is, should you grab it for 5,000 rupees less than when it launched? Well, if you're looking to spend 25,000 rupees or less on a smartphone, the POCO X7 Pro still makes a strong case for itself. But there are a few things you need to know before you hit that buy button. And before we get into the long-term pros and cons of the X7 Pro, make sure you hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and let's get into it. The good news first. The X7 Pro feels solid. I have been using it without a case and it's barely picked up any scratches or dents. The vegan leather variant has aged way better than expected. No peeling, no fraying at the edges. Now, design is subjective, but honestly, if you are going for the signature yellow and black combo, just know that the cheaper X7 actually looks and feels a bit more premium, as long as you can ignore the giant POCO logo. Its curved front and back feel better in the hand, and the centered camera module looks cleaner compared to the Pro's pill-shaped design. Also worth noting, the regular X7 gets Gorilla Glass Victus 2, while the Pro settles for Gorilla Glass 7i. However, the X7 Pro gets an IP69 rating, which at this price point is fantastic. After abusing it for 4 months, we're talking about rain showers, coffee spills, and even the madness around Holi, the X7 Pro is still going strong. The X7 Pro also feels surprisingly light, despite the massive battery that it carries. But more on that in a bit. It's easy enough to slip into a pocket without feeling bulky, but the boxy profile and flat sides do take some getting used to, especially if you're coming from a phone with more rounded edges. Now, if you love big and gorgeous displays on a smartphone, POCO has nailed this one. It features a flat 6.67-inch AMOLED panel with a 1.5K resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. And honestly, after using it for some time now, it still feels great, especially for gaming and watching content. No unnecessary curves, no accidental touches, just a nice flat screen that's way easier to handle during long sessions. It's Widevine L1 certified, supports HDR10+, and when you're binging Netflix or YouTube, the quality is genuinely top-notch. Plus, it gets plenty bright outdoors. It peaks at around 1400 nits HBM brightness. Overall, for a phone under 25,000 rupees, this has clearly one of the best displays in its segment. It's clean, it's crisp, and it's great for daily use. Speaking of daily use, I have been genuinely happy with the X7 Pro's performance. It runs on the Dimensity 8400 Ultra, paired with up to 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage. In terms of raw performance, the chipset actually slots in somewhere between the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 and the 8 Gen 3, based on benchmark scores, which is pretty great. Basically, if gaming is your thing, this phone won't disappoint. It glides through BGMI at a smooth 60 frames per second, and heating was pretty much non-existent in my usage. The only time I saw temperatures climbing was when I was playing Genshin Impact at 60 FPS. But it's completely understandable. It is one of the most demanding games that we have. Outside of gaming, the X7 Pro feels consistently snappy thanks to that fast UFS 4.0 storage. Apps open quickly, multitasking is a breeze, and overall, it still feels fresh even after a few months of daily use. One of the biggest highlights of the X7 Pro is definitely its battery. It packs a massive 6550 mAh cell using silicon carbon tech, which lets it stay surprisingly slim and light for such a big battery. In real world use, getting around 9 hours of screen time with mixed to heavy usage was no problem for me. Of course, how long the battery actually lasts depends on what you're using the device for. I mean, if you're going to play BGMI for 7 or 8 hours straight, it's going to tap out. But for normal day-to-day use, the battery life is genuinely one of the X7 Pro's biggest strengths. Plus, with 90 watts fast charging support, recharging doesn't take much time either. You can fill the tank from empty in just 45 minutes. Now, let's get into one of the biggest drawbacks of the X7 Pro, its software. It ships with the latest HyperOS 2 based on Android 15, so you're getting the newest Xiaomi experience. But honestly, it still feels messy. The app drawer is packed with bloatware, random system notifications pop up often, and the glance lock screen ads are just plain annoying. I had to uninstall a bunch of apps to make it feel cleaner, and even then, you can't remove everything. If you're looking for a clean Android experience, this isn't it. On the plus side, Xiaomi promises 3 years of Android updates and 4 years of security patches, which is pretty solid for the price, especially since you are starting with Android 15 out of the box. The other big con of the X7 Pro is the camera. It's got a 50 megapixel Sony LYT-600 main sensor with OIS and up to 2x in-sensor zoom, plus an 8 megapixel ultrawide. Sounds fine on paper, but in real world use, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Photos from the main camera are sharp enough most of the time, but they tend to look overprocessed, especially in tricky lighting. Videos are fine for casual Instagram or WhatsApp uploads, but if you're looking for serious detail or cinematic quality, yeah, this ain't it. The 8MP ultrawide is okay for quick snaps, but the color tuning is noticeably different from the main camera. And the 20MP selfie camera, honestly, it's probably the worst part. It really struggles with exposure, especially if there's any kind of harsh light behind you. So here's the thing. After using the POCO X7 Pro for about 4 months, I wouldn't call it the most well-rounded phone in its category, especially if the software and the camera experience matters to you. The two areas where it falls short. That being said, if your priorities are all about performance, gaming, battery life, and just getting solid everyday speed without spending a fortune, the X7 Pro still makes a lot of sense, especially now during the Flipkart sale. For 22,999 rupees, you're getting a pretty solid package, which will easily last you for a couple of years.